What if you can hire a full-time employee who never sleeps, works 24/7, and costs almost nothing, and can do anything on the computer that a human would do, whether it's managing your calendars, sending WhatsApp to your clients, replying to emails, etc. And no, I'm not talking about ChatGPT or Claude. I'm talking about Clawdbot, an open source AI assistant that just got released who can run locally on your computer, remembers everything because it has infinite memories, and works while you sleep. In this video, I'll show you what Clawdbot actually is, what it can do for your business, how you can set it up relatively quickly in 10 minutes. By the end of this video, you will have a very good idea on how to set up your very first AI employee. And just very quickly, if you're new to this channel and don't know who I am, my name is Edwin Chen. I'm an Oxford postgraduate and Voiceflow certified expert. And over the past year, I've been running my own AI company, Legacy AI, where we've partnered with almost 50 different businesses, like the one you see in this video, to help implement voice, chat, and AI automation solutions so they can focus working on the business and not in the business. So Clawdbot is an AI assistant that you can install locally on your machine. So the difference between this and something like ChatGPT is that ChatGPT uses a browser, right? So you need to go to chatgpt.com in order to use that. That is not being hosted by you. It's being done through a website hosted by OpenAI. But in Clawdbot, you can actually run it and install it in your Mac setup, for example, and it will help you manage and touch directly the apps inside your local machine, such as Apple Reminders, Apple Notes. The apps that you have access to inside your app can be controlled by Clawdbot. So that means that you can actually talk to it through WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, and it will monitor, for example, messages from your WhatsApp or email, and you can just chat to it and tell him to, for example, a bunch of email that comes in through your workspace, and you can tell Clawdbot that will monitor in the background and be able to fetch the email, read the email that's incoming, and you can just talk to the bot and it would do all the tasks for you. For example, analyze emails, replying to clients on WhatsApps, managing calendars, etc. So there's a bunch of things that you can do with Clawdbot. That was what makes it so exciting. And the good thing is it has almost infinite memory, meaning that it will store conversations with you and things about you for a very, very long time, right? And yeah, it has full system access to your entire computer. Now, of course, I know I'm kind of hyping this, but obviously there are concerns, like don't do anything silly with it. Like, for example, when you give it permissions to do things, you need to be really, really careful, especially if this run locally on your machine, so it doesn't mess with your setup and everything doesn't delete your entire files and folders, for example, right? But this is really, really promising. I want to show you how you can actually play with it right now and experimenting with it, right? So the first thing you want to do is actually go to Terminal. I actually have a Mac Studio, so I can just run this perfectly in my setup. And I will just click plus, copy this, and I can just run this on Terminal and just click plus. And now it's going to be installing the Clawdbot, right? And after it finishes installing, you will see this is like a kind of an onboarding guide, and you would just say, I will just make it slightly larger for you guys to see. Right, let me just put this larger. And it will say, I understand this is powerful inherently risky, of course, so you would continue. I'll just click yes. And then you would just click quick start or menu. For now, I'm going to click on menu, so we have more actual configurations. When do you want to set it up? So you can either set it up local, which is this machine, or you can set up remote giveaway, which is info only. We're just going to be doing local gateway because I just want to work within this machine. There are situations where, like, I've seen other people actually do it where it can be installed so that even if you're outside, like on a cafe or something, you can still run this. But for now, I'm just going to use it for my own Mac. And it will just create a workspace directory. So I'm just click users at Claude. And from here, you will need to choose a model, right? So I'm going to go ahead and actually choose OpenAI. But of course, if you want to be like a bit more accurate and you want more intelligence, I will choose Anthropic Claude. But just standard use case, just to be efficient with tokens, I'm going to choose OpenAI. And I'm going to provide my OpenAI API key. And from here, I'll need to choose a model. So I'm just going to choose a GPT 5.1 for now. And gateway, I'm just going to click enter. And from here, this is important. There are different choices you can make. Loopback means that you want to run it locally, and it will not have access to your network or the other system. For example, you will not, for example, if you want to talk to it on WhatsApp, you cannot send messages on WhatsApp if you're in loopback. So the best thing actually do is to use auto, which again, you can switch between loopback and live. This is the settings that I like. For here, I will just click token. And I'll just click off for now for tail scale. And from here, you can see that there are different channels that you can actually configure. There's Telegram, WhatsApp, Google Chat. For example, do you want to configure channels now? I would click yes. And I'm just going to click on, let's say, WhatsApp, right? And from here, I can just go ahead and link WhatsApp. And I can just scan this QR code within WhatsApp, right? And I've scanned the QR code, and now it has access to my WhatsApp DM, etc. And so I'm just going to say this is my personal phone number, and I just need to enter my phone number here. And from here, I basically linked the WhatsApp, and I'm just going to be using WhatsApp for now. But of course, you can actually go ahead and configure other channels, like for example Discord, Microsoft Teams if you want to, so you have access to your teammates, messages, etc. For now, I'm just going to stick with WhatsApp for this demo. I'm just going to click finished. Do I need to configure skills now? So skills, this is important. Skills is actually what allows you to connect to other things. So for example, you can download, maybe I'll just show you. Actually, this is better to explain. Click yes, and I'll just click npm for now. And from here, you can select other things that you want to use. For example, if I want to have access to certain things, for example, I can have access to Gemini, and I can have access to camera if I want to do some video editing, right? Blog watcher, for example, to actually be able to monitor blogs and etc. And you can also have access to, of course, Oracle, OpenAI Whisper, which is actually an audio model, right? Etc. There's many things that you can have access to, but for now, I'm just going to skip it. Set Google Plays API, I'm just going to say no for now. No, no, no. I'll just skip for now. And I'm going to install the gateway. How do you want to hatch your bot? I'll just say open in Web UI. And this will basically open up a chat interface, as you can see here, with Clawdbot being installed on your Mac. So yeah, I can just go to here and essentially chat. And from here, let me give you an overview. Chat is where you chat with the agent, right? And the overview is basically an overview of the kind of the URL and like the token, and also like the connections and everything, just basically a dashboard. And you have channels, which means that what channel are you actually configured to? I just configured to WhatsApp, so it has access to WhatsApp, etc. Right? And then you have the instances, right, like this, and then you have sessions, and then you have cron jobs. Now, cron jobs, I will explain a little bit, but basically you can schedule Clawdbot to do certain things. For example, I can call it email, and I can just schedule it every day, right? Maybe every 30 minutes. But I can just schedule it I can choose a date. So I can choose at, for example, tomorrow at, now it's actually midnight right now, but let's say at 9:30 p.m. Then you can prompt the AI to say, for example, monitor the incoming emails and summarize them to me here, right? Or like maybe WhatsApp is better, so maybe to me via WhatsApp, right? And you just add job. And from here, it will say next week it's like basically 27 January, 9:32 a.m. It will execute this task, which is monitor the incoming emails and summarize them through WhatsApp. Obviously, I'm not connected to Google Workspace, so it's not actually going to do anything. But once you actually connect to Gmail, if you prefer, then it will go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to click ahead and click remove for now. But this is a way to kind of schedule tasks if you want, right? Skills is where you kind of have access to basically different apps within your Mac. For example, you have access to, let's say, Apple Notes, Apple Reminders, etc. And yeah, you can also have Nano Banana Pro. I actually have it, so I'm just going to save the key here. So what this allows you to do actually is to actually able to generate image, right? This is kind of an important part to have. And this, you can just explore this in your own time to kind of basically expand the capability of your chatbot. So the rest is not too important. I'm just going to go ahead and actually chat with it now and just say hi. Hi. Now, the way that you usually want to do it is you usually need to spend quite a lot of time to train its model. Hey, nice to meet you on here. What would you like to do or talk about? Now, you need to treat it like a kid. Like as a kid, you don't know about anything. It's a very smart kid, but you need to teach them everything to do about you, your life, your business, if you have any, your relationships if you want to, and all the context in the world that you want, right? So I'm just going to say, hey, my name is Edwin. And say, hey, I'm assistant running on your Mac through a laptop. What do you prefer call you day to day? Edwin, Eddie, something else. Do you have any pronouns you want to use? How do you imagine helping messages, etc. Right. So I'm just going to say, I want to call you John. Mine, you can call me Eddie. I am an AI agency owner helping businesses implementing voice and chat agents. And it will remember, again, because it has infinite memory, it's going to call, hey, Edwin, John did this. Love that you're running an AI agency, etc. So it's basically asking us what to use it for. Do you want me to think, how about, etc. Right? So I'm just going to say, actually, be able to, one thing would be very important is that we'll be able to actually fetch what's in my reminders. So usually I have a bunch of tasks to do, right, in here. Basically, some reminders, basically a list of tasks that I need to do on here that every day reminds me that I also need to remind my colleague, my team members on WhatsApp. So what would be useful is, let's see if we can actually be able to fetch things from my reminder and actually send it in WhatsApp, right? So I'm just going to say fetch from my reminders and send a message to my colleague, Suleka, remember this phone number. Now, by default, when you're sending messages on WhatsApp, it doesn't know which contact name is associated with which number. So if you have a bunch of contacts that you want the agent to be able to remember, you have to provide a list of the name and the phone number. So if you have John, Mary, and Joseph, for example, then John's phone number will be 1234, Mary's phone number will be 5678, and Joseph's phone number will be 6676, for example, right? Then you basically need to tell the agent once, and you ask it to remember it, and it will remember it forever, right? But the first day you will need to teach it. So that's why when you install it and you want to play with it, I would literally spend around 1 or 2 days just training it and just teaching everything you need, everything you know about you, so it will remember for the rest of your engagement with the agent, right? So I'm just going to say this, remember this phone number, and let's see what its response. Yep, so it's being very careful now. Fetch from my reminders. What exactly should I send to Suleka? Or today's due reminders, overdue today. I remember you, so they will remember, colleague, for future use. Yeah, so in my Apple reminders is tasks to do tomorrow. Send her a summary of the tasks we need to do tomorrow. Here's what I did and what I found. Basically, it's fetch all the reminders again. Basically, I fetched from the reminders, so you can see this is my reminder. There's 7 tasks to do here, and it's showing it here in the chat. Send a WhatsApp summary. I already messaged this her. Here's a quick summary for tomorrow. So if you check WhatsApp, I just sent Suleka a summary, my colleague. It's a quick summary of current tasks and reminders, so we align for tomorrow. These are the tasks that we need to do. If you think anything's missing, let me know and we'll add it, right? So this is really helpful. Imagine every day, if you're connected to your email, right? Then you can just summarize all the emails that have been sent to you, and then you can just fetch those and send it in WhatsApp. By the way, you can also talk to yourself. This is me, and I already talked to you a little bit, but I'll just say /status. And from here, you can actually see the status of the bot. So you can see I'm using the model 5.1, how much tokens it has used, context window it has used, etc. Right? So I can just say, I can also talk to it on WhatsApp without this interface, right? So I can just say, hey, and it will say, hey, back. All sent. I've sent links to WhatsApp and able to read your reminders and message people like I did with Suleka. What do you want to do next? Tweet the message or work your stuff. I'll just say something funny. Send a meme to Suleka about busy Monday, I guess. And to say, Monday mood, me this weekend I'll be productive, just 57 tasks, let's survive this one together. And from here, I can also say, let's say, list out all the notes I have on different tasks that I do on Apple. So on data ingestion, pipeline, which is actually an project that we're working on. Another thing that I don't know if you know, but like I don't use iPhone, so I can't actually physically fill in the notes, but I can actually use WhatsApp now to actually manage my Apple accounts, right? And it said, Clawdbot reply, here's what I found in Apple Notes for the data ingestion pipeline. Yeah, this is the task that I actually need to do. So ensure one note on the data ingestion pipeline if you want. Yeah. Can you help me take notes on this? Now imagine I'm on a client meeting outside and I actually don't have access to the notes in my desktop, right? I can now actually use the WhatsApp to actually save it inside my Apple Notes and be like, I am outside in a client meeting on this right now. Add notes that on this, that it's due on, let's say, next Tuesday. You have a client meeting and a capture. I've added in the Apple reminder data ingestion pipeline client deliver from today's meeting. It's actually due on Thursday, 29th of January 2026. Right, when you're back in your desk, we can flash out the. Now, if you check back to my reminders, it actually said data ingestion pipeline client deliverable from today's meeting. Right. Oops, from today's meeting. And then you would see the deadline you see the deadline actually is now 29th of January, which is this Thursday, right? This is exactly what I said. So yeah, this is basically adding in the reminder. So yeah, hopefully this helps a little bit. Like this is just a kind of a snapshot of the things that you can do. Obviously experiment with it, but don't rely too much onto it. Just play with it, because as time goes, obviously the security issues will be better. Then you'll be able to use this fully in production. But for now, it's a cool demo that you can play with and try to experiment what's possible and what's to come. But yeah, this is actually coming faster than you thought. Like this is literally like a few months down the line. This could be the ultimate AI employee that actually you can install locally on your machine that helps you with all the different tasks, right? Which is exciting. Yeah, hopefully this has helped you. And if you want to, if you enjoyed this kind of content, remember to like, comment, subscribe. And if you're a business owner and you want to implement some sort of AI solutions for your business, you're more than welcome to use the link in the description to book a free discovery call with us. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one.